Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Jyotirmayananda Society. We focus on spirituality, a journey to self realization. Please subscribe for the mystical meanings of the scriptures and to enjoy daily satsang with us. We are currently exploring the book The Art of Positive Feeling. Commentary is by Swami Jyotirmayananda Maharaj, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. Today we are covering a new chapter exploring the roots of impurity. To understand the six impurities, also known as Shad Ripus in Sanskrit, Shad Shad, Ripus, more profoundly, one must look into their roots. The Shad Ripus themselves are the ramifications of Mala or gross impurities of the conscious mind, which derive their nutrition from subtle impressions of the unconscious. These subtle impressions cause distraction or agitation known as vikshepa. In turn, these subtle impressions have as their ultimate root avidya or ignorance, also referred to as avarana or mystic veiling of one's essential divine nature. So, a very important concept to fully grasp and understand. Sediments of the unconscious. Year after year, the vast ocean brings sediments to its depths, and these sediments turn into rocks. In the same way, the mind, through waves of diverse functions, brings to its subconscious depths layers and layers of sediments which go to form subconscious obstructions in the manifestations of the spirit and its energy. As thought waves and desires rise and fall day by day, we gain experiences. These experiences lead to the formation of subtle impressions or samskaras, which abide in the unconscious, in the profound depths of one's being. They cannot be easily brought to the conscious purview, and yet they continue to exert their influence in one's daily life. From the depths of the unconscious, from time to time, there matures a group of impressions, and the thought waves bring these impressions to the shore of normal consciousness. In other words, now and then there is an emergence of the unconscious content in life's movements. What is generally spoken of as the fructification of karmas in one's life is nothing but the emergence of the matured impressions from the unconscious, which take over the realities of day to day life and force one to pass through diverse experiences of pleasure and pain. Human personality is a mold prepared by the mind, which continues to fashion it, to change it, to modify it. So we are what we think. Mind is very powerful indeed. All events in life, all developments in circumstances, all associations and opportunities are explained in the terms of the workings of the subconscious impressions. Yoga does not consider the events of life as mere accidents. All these things have been created over many lifetimes and are now buried in the deep unconscious. From there, it emerges into the subconscious and then to our conscious level. It is not just the physical facts of your life, but even your circumstances, which are fashioned by the karmas or actions of your past. Yoga not only explains your physical diseases as expressions of your mental ailments, but also your circumstantial adversities as expressions of the contents of your unconsciousness, unconscious within. However, this does not place you in the hands of a blind destiny. That doesn't mean we are helpless. We can still do a lot of things. But rather, it gives us a vision of freedom in life. No matter how much the past has built its sediments in the subconscious and the unconscious, it is you who have the power to modify it and reconstruct the contents of your subconscious. You have fashioned your past, you are fashioning your present, and you are the architect of your future also. Thus, in brief, from the unconscious impressions, there arise the subconscious desires or vasanas. These subconscious desires express themselves in the form of inclinations and urges in day to day life. What we call complexes in the mind mostly refer to these subconscious desires of the mind, which express themselves in the form of thought waves or vrittis. You can observe your mind. You can see how diverse thought waves arise from the unknown regions of your mind and continue to float in your conscious mind as merry ripples. But soon these tiny ripples come into contact with the functions of imagination, misconception, and egoistic interest. Then they turn into conscious desires. When there is a vexing desire, the mirror of the mind becomes clouded. As a result, you do not perceive yourself, you do not feel the depths of your being, wherein there lies peace and bliss in abundance. It is through the imagination of the mind that you impose on your intrinsic joy on the objects outside of you. And then, due to ignorance, you feel that it was the object that gave you happiness. In reality, the happiness came from within you. When a desire is not fulfilled, it turns into a craving. Cravings, desires, and mental confusions continue to form diverse impressions in the subconscious, and from the subconscious, the sediments of experiences, the subtle samskaras, continue to deposit themselves in the unconscious depths of one's being. Thus, the cycle of the mind continues revolving. With it continue the realities of one's day to day life, the story of pleasure and pain, the drama of comedy and tragedy. Let's discuss the kleshas or mental afflictions. According to Raj Yoga, there are 5 kleshas or afflictions which exist in the form of subtle impressions in the subconscious and the unconscious mind. These are avidya, meaning ignorance, asmita, egoism, raga, attachment towards objects that seem to give pleasure, dvesha, aversion or hatred towards objects that give pain, and abhinivesha klesha, clinging to life or dread of death. These 5 kleshas govern the life of man by injecting their venom in mind's functions. So, human life is an elaboration of the subconscious and the unconscious contents. When the impressions of afflictions exist in the depths of one's being, his life expresses various forms of erroneous movements, mental eccentricities, physical maladies, and circumstantial adversities. These kleshas are the basic roots for the development of any evil quality in one's personality. Therefore, in order to overcome any of the evils fully, those basic roots must be removed. Removal of the kleshas and attainment of self realization is thus the ultimate remedy for eradicating all that is negative in one's personality. Yoga aims at reducing and sublimating these subtle impressions and freeing the chitta or mind stuff from all afflictions that distort the perception of the reality of the self. Let's look at them one by one. Avidya or ignorance. The most subtle and deep rooted of the affliction is avidya or ignorance. When the intellect is impure, the buddhi, we call it intellect, when it is impure and its luminosity is clouded, one loses the glimpse of one's innate essential universality and becomes identified with the ego center. It is as if the sun comes to believe it is only the reflection of itself in a puddle, or the ocean believes it is only a wave, or a patch of blue has forgotten that it is the sky. This error is called ignorance or avidya. It is like a veil that covers the reality of the self and shows the ego to be the all important entity in life. Ignorance consists in considering that which is not self as the self. Ignorance is a strange confusion of matter and spirit. The spirit is eternal, but due to ignorance, you view the spirit within you as dependent on body, mind, and intellect. You have forgotten, so to speak, that your real identity, your essential nature, is the immortal and eternal Brahman, the Absolute Self. And we will continue with the other four afflictions or impurities in tomorrow's satsang. This is Swami Nikhilananda. Om Tat Sat.